I actually cremated my grandfather, and that's what's in there.
You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it.
Every single time.
Cool. Why am I here? Whatever.
We ask ourselves this every podcast.
All right, cool. All right.
Before we continue on, everyone, I want to give a big thank you to our sponsor, Burrow. Burrow has reinvented the luxury couch. From style to shipping, functionality to adaptability, Burrow's put the time and thought into furniture buying so you don't have to. I know that whenever I'm looking for furniture, I usually defer to Lauren to buy the furniture, and I just say, yes, I like the color of that one. So Burrow's taking all of that and putting it into one package.
Lauren actually defers to me, and I've advised her that your next sofa should be a Burrow.
Who defers to me?
Burrow defers to you.
Burrow defers to me.
So basically, the cool thing about Burrow is you can customize your Burrow sofa to fit your personality. You know, you can select the color, you can select the size, the armrest height, whatever's perfect for you, whatever's ideal for you. It's engineered to be super comfortable. And it's also easy to move. I know one of the biggest things with getting a couch is whether or not you eventually have to move, and if that piece of furniture is going to give you a heart attack trying to move it. Burrow assembles and disassembles in just minutes with no tools required. So when it comes time to move, Burrow gives you one less thing to worry about because you don't need to worry about anything, especially when it comes to Burrow.
Wish you could do that with people.
Yeah, I wish that too. Unfortunately, not the case.
Not the case.
Couches are either cheap and flimsy or heavy and expensive. They're hard to move, complex to put together, and never both stylish and durable.
Tell me about it.
The couch that John has, I remember because I gave it to him when I was finished with it. All the armrests had caved in because of flimsy wood underneath the leather.
It was also Popeye
flimsy.
arms.
I would always people's elbow the armrest.
People's elbow.
It's a
This
rock.
is the people's elbow.
It's a rock finishing.
An elbow for the people.
And also besides that, it didn't disassemble and it was an L-shaped couch. So basically, I said, John, if you want the couch, you handle taking care of it. And John actually hasn't talked to me since, and this is the first time we hung out again. It's been 3 years.
Numerous years. I'm aging rapidly, but yeah, the couch was not good. Burrow couches.
Burrow couches, on the other hand, are good.
Yeah, John is aging. He's 16, actually.
So he's de-aging. All right, so here are some of the biggest points to keep in mind with Burrow.
Huge.
The number one, affordable luxury. It's the same quality you expect from high-end retailers without breaking the bank. All Burrow furniture is shipped fast and shipping is free. Setup is super easy, as is moving it again. Burrow is adaptable, so if your space changes, their modular design allows it to move and grow with you. With stain-resistant fabric that can take on your pet's claws and built-in USB charger, Burrow has the durability and functionality to keep with your hectic life. The coolest thing about that, a built-in USB charger, that's revolutionary. I literally bought an 8-foot iPhone charger so that I could plug it in and reach it from sitting on the couch. And Vinny constantly gets caught up in it. Vinny's my dog. For those who don't know, Burrow, that's my dog. Enjoy 30 days of cozy on your Burrow, risk-free, or try out Burrow at one of their showrooms today. So, here's the good part, guys. Burrow has a really good deal for you. For $75 off your order, visit burrow.com/Pine.
Pine.
That's BURROW.com/Pine for $75 off your purchase. Burrow makes the luxury couch for real life.
All right. Do you want to do the intro?
Oh, let's put this down because
Yes.
welcome back. Welcome back to episode 32 of Beyond the Pine, bitches.
32.
Don't call
30.
them
We've
that.
had
They don't like it when
32
you
episodes
call
of
them
this
that.
podcast.
This is the
32.
future.
It's been 32 weeks since we ended Acrasia.
Here's the thing. Really, did we start this right after Acrasia?
This was the first one was right after Acrasia.
Wow. I think that it's actually felt like we've done 100 of these.
Yeah.
No, but I actually thought we were on like
Every
80
day is
by
an
now.
agonizing
So this is
Right.
the 100th.
This is the 100th episode, guys. Welcome back to Beyond the
Emotionally.
Pine, season 100.
Let's also talk about our guest who's visiting.
We've got a special guest, a.k.a. John,
Johan Redlinger.
Reisinger.
your favorite Rooster
Close
Teeth
enough.
member.
Close enough.
Do you know John Reisinger?
No.
Okay.
John
I wouldn't
Reisinger
expect
is
you to.
great, and I love his Instagram.
Okay.
So
This is John Redlinger. He's one of my best friends.
The next best.
John Redlinger is, as I'm sure you guys know, there's a couple amazing things that John's done, just including us. There are many other amazing things he's done without us, but the two greatest, don't touch me, the two greatest things that he's done with us is directing our first feature short film, The Woods. And you know him as your friendly neighborhood piece of shit agent, Michael Jarvis.
Michael Jarvis.
I thought it was jaundice. When I
Why the fuck
Some
wasn't it
people
Michael
heard
Jaundice?
Jones Jaundice, and I
like
feel
Jarvis,
people
though.
just open the dictionary to a J, but
Jarvis
I don't know
just
whose fault
works,
that
you know.
is.
Michael juxtaposition.
It's probably Steve's fault.
Definitely.
I mean, I like Jarvis. I think it's a very unique name, and it's like interesting. It's very charismatic
Did that
sounding.
come from anywhere? Was that your idea, or is that you?
No, it wasn't me.
I think it was Steve's.
Really?
Sleeves.
Sleeves.
Yeah.
Steve's not on this podcast today because he's got business to take
Because he
care
was bad at
of.
scheduling.
He's a busy man.
Yeah, we had a really hectic day where we had to shoot in the morning because we had to do some pickup shots for yesterday's shoot, which you'll imagine it's either up or you'll see soon.
That's the kind of yeah. I guess can I announce? I don't know if I can announce this, or I'm sure it's fine. I don't think it's a big deal. I've just been approved as a producer for Sugar
How
Pine.
about
now.
that?
Oh, yeah.
Next to
And
Mimi.
so is Mimi.
Mimi and
Oh,
I
yeah.
are officially producers of Sugar
Officially
Pine
on the
now.
clock.
So first day fucked up.
On the clock, dude.
Schedule was supposed to
Fire.
be. We're gonna get
Yeah.
more organized though.
What is that like being sort of new to the tent that y'all play under? What does that entail for you?
Well, he's
Oh, we
already
don't even
been
know
doing.
yet.
He's been doing the same. He's been a producer, just not
Yeah,
a technical producer.
You and Mimi have been the glue that holds this show together. And
We're the mom and dad of
exactly.
The office.
You're the mom and dad and the son.
Don't touch me, son.
We're all kind of getting more on a schedule. I wasn't on last week's podcast, so if I start talking about stuff that you guys talked about last time, like the future of the show and shit like that, just let me
We
know that we
did
already
literally
talked
talk
about
about the exact future of the
it.
show.
Yeah.
And the
I
schedule.
should probably watch that to know where we're going.
Who has an hour's time, dude?
Truly.
Bespoke post.
Hey, Post does.
Wait, hold on. ASMR.
Hear that? That's my grandfather.
Hear that? That's
Cremated.
time passing and you not doing anything about it.
Anyway, as a producer, I'm keeping these guys in check and making sure that we stay on track.
Yeah. We gotta be wacky and fucking nutso to keep our charisma up, and then we need people to be like, yo, you gotta fucking not be so awful.
Yeah.
And you gotta do this now and do this later. So
It's a
that's
weird-
what Mimi and Jamie do, as
Yeah.
well as a lot more.
It's
So
a
much
weird
more.
environment because like we come from, and Mimi too, come from more traditional scripted stuff, and that's the kind of thing that people will genuinely disappear for if stuff goes wrong. So
Welcome to YouTube, baby.
I got
You got 16 lives.
well, I think the Woods was like a big. So many chances to screw it all up.
16 of them, baby.
I think the Woods was like a big turning point for treating everything as because we ran that set like it was $100 million production.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Well, it was.
we.
Daddy
Where'd that money
fucking.
go? That's a good precedent to set for this one.
yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, but like that, like we ran that lockstep like it was, the next blockbuster, and it was.
And it was the next blockbuster.
It was.
It made
Shut down and nobody saw it.
made $100 billion in the Chinese box office. No one in America saw it. No one anywhere else but China saw it. They hated it.
It was banned in Canada.
Banned in
That's
Canada.
most movies
Yeah,
I'm a
which is
part
really
of.
difficult for me being Canadian, and I couldn't even watch it. I haven't seen it yet.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so
whoops.
John directed that, and that was quite
Yeah,
an
you
impressive
did.
feat. That
Didn't
was
you?
Dude.
I don't know. I mean, I've like told you, but like that was I have always had a lot of respect for you. But like
Oh.
if I had none prior to shooting that, I would have garnished as much as I can have for a person.
Dude, that's exactly
That-
how like Steve, myself, and James felt about you because we hadn't really done a whole lot with you. And then
Anything.
when you were
did
like
zero.
real director, like you were passionate about the project, like you weren't just like I've been on a couple different like little YouTube shows and things like that where like the director's just kind of like going through the motions. Cool, yeah, let's get that shot. But you were like you had a fucking vision and you were
Yeah.
excited and you loved what you were doing and it seemed like you were having fun with us and it was really
Totally,
cool.
totally.
But yet you had that like
Well,
director. You were the fucking
coolest
director.
thing-
you know?
The coolest thing about that project was I didn't. If you remember when you guys called me in to like talk about it, like I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
I knew it was like a monster movie. It didn't even have a title at that point.
No, it was
And-
called He's Here.
oh yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. And I think I'd read like an outline or whatever, and I expected to come and have to like pump myself up and talk about like all the shit that I'd done, and instead you guys were so passionate and like what came through about your vision and the genre stuff, and then being in the office and seeing all the stuff like Mad Max and Alien and all that stuff that I love. It was like, okay, we are aligned on what we want to
Absolutely.
do here, and
Yeah.
then when that final version of the script came, I think like 24 hours before the shoot, I was going through and shot listing and
Power
looking
roll,
at what we
baby.
need, and it was just like I don't remember how many setups we had on the first day, but it was
I
like
think it was like 80 or
Did
90.
anyone
no,
count?
it was
Tell
like
me-
130 or something.
Is this
it was
true
fucking
that
crazy?
legitimately on record? I mean, we're not on record for this because no one cares about
No,
our short
the
film.
answer is
but
no.
We didn't beat the record
No,
for
because
most setups.
you have to.
We
We
ended
didn't.
up-
We didn't work legal days.
Oh yeah, we worked.
True.
And we also was
Constantly.
a short film.
We unofficially,
Unofficially?
like wind aided if you're running a 40 in the combine. We
I understood that.
did you? As a sports reference. Whoops.
Not a big sports.
Didn't understand
We-
it. Nodded at you anyway.
If you're running and the wind is blowing you and you're a little quicker than maybe you would have been. We slashed some scenes, shots rather, and consolidated some stuff, which y'all were obviously very generous in allowing us to do. But we, on that first day, I kept the sheet and I've thought about framing it. We had 126 setups, which
Wow.
for people that don't know,
Is a lot.
That's not takes. That's not like, okay, that was great, go again. That's times the camera had to move to
Camera, lighting,
Yeah.
blocking, because we didn't
And-
block out the whole movie like a normal. Again, 3 days. So like
Yeah.
you set up, you block, you shoot.
It was super ambitious and everybody bar none rose to the occasion. It was amazing. But I felt bad because I feel like I had to be I had to sort of rein in the part of myself that gets to be, Michael Jarvis for y'all.
Boss man.
Well, just
We needed that.
The part that was like silly and wanting to mess around because you got a crew and you've got this
Absolutely.
insane schedule and this script that has blood every other shot. Your
You still
neck
had
gets
fun, man.
it was incredible.
It was so fun.
It was honestly the greatest experience that I had making something with people that I didn't grow up with, and certainly the greatest experience of last year. And as we've been talking about, more to come soon, will lead to greater stuff because I feel
Absolutely.
like the best parts of the woods are can only get better for everybody involved.
It was a very, very impressive feat on like everybody's part.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, beforehand we had like everything go wrong too. So
Yep.
it was like leading up
And
to
post.
For those who have seen it,
What'd you
I
think?
think
Comments
it-
in the
it
comments
looks-
below.
comments below. Yeah. But it looks so smooth. But if you guys remember the first take on the first day, the car died.
Yeah. And the keys were locked in the fucking car.
of that fucking
Steve, it was
Suburban.
like
Steve.
we had the
and then what?
camera.
Remember his excuse?
I didn't know that cars do that.
No, he's like, I usually have cars that you don't have to have the key.
Yeah. Yes.
And I
was
was
like-
honest, but I do the
was-
same thing because my car doesn't like let me fuck up.
I've
So
never
when
done that.
We're behind Video Village. I'm looking at the monitor. Naeem, great DP. He's got the camera. We got it on the slider. We both the slider.
The slider.
broke.
We didn't have the sticks.
Slider broke.
The slider
We didn't
broke?
have, we didn't have the sticks for the slider, so we had to put it on like
It's taped. The
Apple boxes,
slider
yeah.
is taped to all this shit. We're ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
And all right, everybody ready? Ready. I remember you're looking at me. We're like, oh, this is it. And action. The camera starts moving. Car. Like, I think I just lost my shit immediately. I was like,
Oh,
"Where's the car
immediately
not
we all
moving?"
lost our shit. Yeah.
And everyone's like, car. And Steve was like, my keys are locked in the car.
I remember
And
that.
that was like everybody. The temperature just dropped, and we were all like, "Oh man!"
But
And
that couldn't have been a better place to start.
it was such a good place
Yeah.
to start because what it did is it galvanized everybody to immediately move forward and go, "We're
Yep.
gonna get through this.
Yep.
Let's find a creative way
we
to
did.
do this." And I feel like every single thing about that brought out the best of
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
And what I love about a set like that, and what I love about what you guys do, just recently being included as an actor, is the best idea wins.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of
Yeah,
ego. There's
definitely.
not a lot of ego of like, well, I came up with this idea. It's like everybody gets to share, and there's a chain of command, of course. But if something's funny or if something works, you try it. And I think for me that's been super refreshing to be a part of because on the other end of production stuff,
Where
sometimes you get so regimented. You get so locked into an idea.
you're looking at a scene or something and you're just like, this could be better. Why are we not doing it better? We're just doing it the way it is.
You'll work with people who are sort of more traditional and
Yeah.
have gone
Yeah.
through film school or this or that, and it's sort of you run up against an issue like the car not working, or the slider not working, or the blood gag on your neck maybe not working perfectly. And
Oh, we got that, baby.
We did, yeah, for sure. But initially, people sort of just shut down. It's like, oh, I can't do this. Oh, that didn't work. And you see those people that are like the PAs or the smaller guys on set. They're like, well, they have an idea, but they're not allowed to share. And what you guys do is such a collaborative thing where it's like the best idea wins, and there's no competition for the best idea.
Well, that's how you get the best outcome. There's no one
everybody's just
person
into it. Yeah,
there's
it's great.
always going to be another outside opinion that is slightly better or different that works better. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like collaborating is the way to go.
It's funny because like one of my favorite things. Well, also we couldn't afford to let that hinder us at
Exactly,
all.
yeah.
But like one of my favorite things to do on like an actual set or like an actual production, like what we've been doing a lot lately in with the Woods, is that those ideas that come up is what gets people excited.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
totally,
And it's like
totally.
the new idea, and we're like, oh fuck, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like it had not like wasn't in the script. It was written completely different. It was written a lot more complicated or something. And we find like an easy. There was so much like problem solving on
Yeah,
that.
there's never a dull
Yeah.
moment. You're not like, okay, fuck, let's just do it. You're like,
Right.
no, that fucking idea is dope. Let's just do it.
That's
and
it.
you can.
And
There's no reason
every,
not to.
Every every setup, every scene, everybody was so fired up to do, and that was what I mean. I think the first day was 17 hours. The second day was a rough day. That was
I think
rough.
the second day was 22 hours.
Yeah, it was. I slept in like a trundle bed grotto, like rolled up, and I remember.
Oh my God.
Mimi
Yeah,
came.
remember,
Mimi came and like poked me, and I woke up and was.
Hey,
sort of
John,
like,
time to shoot. I just
Well,
lied down.
I was so delirious,
care.
and I like rolled over, and her face was very close to mine, unsettlingly. And she
Welcome to
said-
my world.
She said, "I'm so sorry," and I just was like, "If it's on fire, just let me burn. Whatever's wrong, just I'll go down with the ship." And she was like, "It's time to shoot," and I was like, "All right." Like it was like some Captain Ahab shit. We're just gonna get through it. But then, of course, on the third day, and we probably all felt this, driving away from Idlewild, and as I always feel working with y'all, it's never enough. As exhausted as I was more fired up. I was like, shit, I wish we had a fourth day.
Yep.
Yeah,
Shooting
I know.
Michael Jarvis. It's like, you guys are like, oh, it'll take 3-4 hours. It takes an hour and a half because we have so much fun. And it's like, well, we're done. And I was like, man, it's too quick. It
Yeah, I
didn't
was
last
just
long
talking
enough.
to actually behind us. It's Wes
Hey,
Robinson,
Wes.
Hey,
who
Wes.
plays Jason.
Wes Anderson, ladies and gentlemen.
Big guest sitting in the back.
Just barely blurry enough to not be sure if it's actually Wes Anderson.
Isle of Dogs out now.
But we were talking about how the creative process here is so different from the rigid environments that we come from with like film and TV, where it's like you have to.
Could you
just-
say that part again, though?
to-
You come from
So we
Film
come.
and TV?
We come from.
Humble brag.
Bit me over.
movies have you been in?
Humble brag.
What movies have you been in?
I just want to cry sometimes. And
See, again,
sleep underneath
that's
the
bullshit
desk.
right there. We were talking about this morning because if you guys don't know, I'm sure you do. Jamie and Wes were in Blair Witch Project, or just
Blair
Blair
Witch.
Witch?
The only reason this is brought up is because Wes is here. This is not something that I'm like regularly like, hey guys, do you
But, like,
remember this movie that's
here's the
53 on Rotten Tomatoes, friends?
But here's the thing. My opinion of it, and I like
And I'm
most
biased.
movies. I like most movies. I watched it. I mean, I still know a bad movie from a good movie, obviously. But I watched the movie for what it was. It was good. It wasn't trash. And they're like somewhat embarrassed of it every time it's brought up. Oh shit! I don't want to talk about it. No, man, be fucking proud. You got to be in Blair Witch.
Well,
That's so fucking cool.
I mean, I never wanted.
it wasn't a Steven Spielberg film.
We never want
I
to throw
understand
away
that.
what a wonderful privilege it was.
Yeah.
I mean, because to get to do anything with a camera in any form
course.
is a humongous honor, and we respect the shit out of that.
But it wasn't shitty, dude. It wasn't
that's
the
very
greatest
sweet.
film I've ever seen, but
I-
it wasn't shitty. It was.
I'll-
I was like, yeah, no, it's good. I enjoyed myself.
I think we were just going through a lot of stuff emotionally, and the stuff that I'm most proud of is like what we shoot together. Like John and I have been making movies for a few years now, and that's the stuff that I'm
even
really
with
proud
that,
of.
where you end up on, you get to see something on the big screen, that's an experience that 90. I'm not a statistician, but 99% of people in the world are never going to get to see.
98.93.
Thank you. Yes, we have run the numbers, but the majority of people who aspire to do stuff that is creative never get to see a vision realized. So whether or not, like exactly what you're saying, like resonates, because it doesn't have to always be the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
And who's to
And it
say if
probably
it's
won't.
the best thing in the world?
Like,
I think a
What are
project
the chances
that,
of always making the best thing?
I think
Yeah.
the project that knows what it is and completes that, what people expect or what people need it to be, is the greatest project in the world.
100%.
Just getting
And-
just finishing is a
But
humongous
the fact
accomplishment.
is, if people are interested in your stuff, right, and people are going to come out and see it, and people are going to watch it, like this podcast, or like the stuff that y'all do, or the shorts that we've made, or Blair Witch, whatever scale it is, that's inspiring to someone. And so you're not to say what the value is there. Like
Yeah,
the
that's what I mean.
value-
That's why
the
when I hear it, I'm
value
like, dude,
is
that's
what it is when
inspiring
it's
to me.
shared.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really
yeah.
the cool thing about what we do, is that we make it and we're in this like bubble, but when you step outside, you realize like if one person liked it, well, you did your job.
Yeah.
And you did more than your job, because hopefully that inspires them to go out and be the better version of what you just did. That's sort of like
Yeah.
the stair step of what being
There has to be
creative is.
bad movies for there to be good movies. Not to say that it was a bad movie, but just in general.
I think, I never ever want to sound ungrateful for that. I think that was just such a strange. Wes and I were talking about this. I think we were kind of in a similar headspace during that time period. That was such a strange thing, because it's like that's the dream, and we were very aware that that is such a rare and wonderful experience just to even get the chance, It was so like, but I had that like stereotypical moment the entire time it was happening, where I was like, this is my dream. It's everything that I have always asked for, and I am viciously unhappy. Like, what the and you can't talk to anyone about it, because everybody's like, what the fuck you got to be upset about?
Well, you did talk to me after you got back, and I was sitting there listening, and we were sharing like a $40
I was
LA
fucked up.
brunch.
Yeah.
And I was hearing about it and sympathizing, and it sounded rough. What you went through was rough, and the process was no doubt rough. But I was eating. My mother, Carol, had sent a care package.
I was eating my mother, Carol.
That had peanut butter pretzels, and I was eating that and tuna for like every meal at that time. And I was like, James,
well, that was me right
that's
before.
tough for you, man.
I know.
yeah, that
I know.
sucks to
And
be
I
part of
always
that.
Sucks to be a part of a Hollywood dang movie.
Well, that's most people's thing. So I was bottling up all of my
Yeah, because
frustration.
you felt like you couldn't express
couldn't
it without
talk to anyone.
seeming ungrateful. I don't think that you're ungrateful. I never get that vibe.
No.
It's my opinion of how you guys feel about it is like the embarrassment. Like I said, like there's zero reason to be embarrassed about it, and it sucks that the way you feel about it and how the space that you're in and the reaction that people got put you in a headspace to feel somewhat embarrassed about it.
It was
I think it's
less.
so fucking cool.
That means the world to me. Oh, sorry.
And, like-
do you want to come?
Yeah, it was just.
Wes Robinson, ladies and gentlemen.
And like, I'm not in film, but I'm not in film. You know what I mean? So I mean, like, as someone that's like not a peer of like the standard film industry, still like we're doing our thing. Like, it's fucking cool, man. You know what I mean? Anyone that was involved in it, like, I didn't watch the movie and go, holy shit, fuck those guys. That was a shitty movie. I went like, it was what it was. Cool.
I loved it. I loved it
Yeah.
because I think what's happening now is that there's a space for everybody to do stuff. Not everything has to be a Marvel movie. Not that I dislike Marvel movies, but not everything has to be straight down the middle. And I think genre's coming back. Like
Yep.
the budgets are getting smaller, and as we all know, the money's getting smaller. But like the space to do cool shit is getting bigger and bigger and bigger if you're ambitious. And that's the takeaway from that is like you took a big swing. They took a big swing. The guys behind it you can speak to more. Like I love what they're doing. And if it's not fully realized, the next one will be, or the next one will be. But like we have to, as an audience and as like consumers, encourage smaller genre stuff to succeed and not be so that sucked, that didn't suck. That's the
Exactly,
best
yeah.
thing ever.
Yeah.
You should appreciate shit for what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
What was your
I think it was
emotional?
just people's honesty, honestly.
You
Because
get
like
a little
I
bit closer
thought,
to the
I'm
mic.
sorry.
Right, yeah.
I thought that when I first saw the movie, I thought it was great. I think it was the critics that made us second guess it.
It's a shame that we let it because you can't help it. And we, on YouTube, we were talking about this on YouTube. That's a pretty violent environment mentally and emotionally. And
It's direct,
Every
immediate.
day.
right, and you get
criticism.
callous to it.
But
That
what's-
was our first time with hearing the entire world saying "fuck you," "you suck," "your friends suck." This
that
thing
was
you
just
invested all of your time and destroyed your personal life over.
No, you know what? Hot take. I think the original sucks. I'm gonna say it right now.
It
sucks. It doesn't hold up. It wasn't scary when I was like 4 or whatever, and I don't think it's scary now. I think
Well, it was a moment in time. It was.
I said there was a lot of mixed reviews about it for a
It was
while.
very
like,
divisive until
There was
after
either the cult
Yeah.
following and everyone else was like, it wasn't scary. And
Oh, the
like,
original?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was panned
I liked
when
it though. I
came
did
out.
like it.
What's great about something like what's terrible about something like the way that film is critiqued now, and what's great about something like YouTube or whatever service it is like, at least with YouTube, if someone gives you real time feedback, everybody else doesn't jump on the bandwagon and go, yeah, I'm not going to watch it.
Yep.
It's almost like if I say that's really bad and you say, oh, that's really good, someone else is encouraged to go, well, I want to have my own opinion versus something like Rotten Tomatoes or something like
Yeah.
just
big-
bandwagoners, man.
it's just it's you see the score drop and people go, that's not worth my money, that's not worth my time. And for me, some of the best stuff I've ever seen in a theater is stuff that I'm like, oh, I'm curious about what the score was, and it's not good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not good
Yeah.
because it doesn't fit
And it makes-
the popular
I'll
opinion.
be
But when
honest about that though. Like when I see a movie that has shit reviews, it does affect me watching
Yeah.
it. When I watch
Yeah.
it, I go in going,
yeah,
I mean, you can't.
and then if
help
I'm
it.
pleasantly surprised, great. But like, I think that will, no matter what, affect the opinion of someone
Yeah.
start to finish if they've seen the reviews and it's bad.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Hey, Clay, what you got? What's on your mind right now?
Just wanted to let everybody know that this channel's video today, this podcast is brought to you and sponsored by Squarespace.
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 You copied me, John.
I did. Sorry.
I'm the only one who screamed. I feel left out.
Well, Jamie, whether you need a domain, a website, or an online store, make that with Squarespace, obviously.
Why
They
would
can
we do that though?
All that?
Let me tell you why.
I'll just get real close on my face turn.
Why would I want to use Squarespace?
They don't have exact talking points.
That's so good.
Tell them, man. Squarespace has beautiful templates to use. Their templates make creating powerful online identity even easier. Each template is a starting point for a wide range of projects, whether you're pursuing or you're a side hustler.
Wow. Tell me more.
They have 8 new templates in 2018 that you have to check out. Stella, Pursuit, Impact, Blend, Pedro, Royce, Kin, and Val. And my personal favorite is probably Royce because...
Royce to 5'9".
Royce to 5'9". I have a cousin named Royce who passed away.
Whoops.
Oh, do you want to talk
5'9".
about that for a minute? Or
They're really an all-in-one platform. You can create a beautiful website with Squarespace. There's nothing to install, no patch or upgrade ever. It's simple to use. You just jump on, choose your starting point, and just get right into it.
Are you illiterate?
Yes. John, yes.
But he's learning from a website created by Squarespace.
There you
Good
go.
tie-in. Great tie-in.
Thanks.
Squarespace provides award-winning 24/7 customer support. Now, I know that's important to me because anytime I have a question or an issue, if I can't get a hold of you at 12:47 a.m. p.m., I'm a little angry.
Yeah.
And that's not a problem or
As
an
am I.
issue with Squarespace with their 24/7 award-winning support. Now you can actually transfer your third-party domains if you've gotten it somewhere else into Squarespace instead of working with multiple vendors to maintain an online presence. You're able to manage all of your domain and billing settings with Squarespace and take advantage of their greasy and easy to use DNS interface.
Greasy.
Maybe not greasy.
I mean, you go really fast on Grease. I
Yep.
see what he's going for.
This is huge because of someone.
It's slick.
Just like Squarespace's designs.
And this is huge because if someone has a GoDaddy domain or any other domain, you can easily switch to Squarespace. It has never been easier to sell products or services online. Squarespace allows you to manage your products, orders, and inventory easily.
I'll tell you a secret, Clay. My website actually started with GoDaddy, then switched to Squarespace, so I can.
Squarespace is where it's at, dude. I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
it is. Yeah, check
Here we
it
go.
out.
Ready to start your new business? Make it. Get started with Squarespace. Make your dreams a reality with Squarespace. Make it with Squarespace. They literally have, those are all the
sassy.
points.
Awesome.
Squarespace empowers millions of websites across thousands of different industries for people just like you. You get the point. Have fun with it and make it sound special. That was a no for that. You get it, baby. You got a website? Build it on Squarespace. Take it away, baby. Oop. And if you are going to use Squarespace, make sure to visit squarespace.com/beyondthepine. That's SQUARESPACE.com/beyondthepine for your special order. Good night.
My least
Yeah.
favorite thing in the world is when somebody hates on a movie just to hate on it. Hashtag Steve. I'm not actually calling him out, but he does that. But like, I tweeted this the other day, and I was like, I hate it when people say that The Dark Knight Rises is a bad movie.
Eat my ass.
Dark Knight is better, but Dark Knight Rises is not a bad movie. You can't call that a bad movie. Or The Last Jedi. You can't call The Last Jedi a bad movie. You can say it's not
as
the
good
original
as this
trilogy.
or this
I
or
haven't
this.
seen it. I haven't seen it.
It's not
I
a
haven't seen it.
bad
I'm the
movie.
one
Like,
person in the free world that hasn't seen it.
Well, don't read the comments after this because it's just gonna be full of spoilers.
absolutely.
That's
And like,
fine.
here's the thing too. Like, if you are a part of
dude,
what,
Snoke is Rey.
Oh shit! No.
Dude,
I knew
And they're
it.
both dreaming.
if you were a part of like the production or a cast in The Dark Knight Rises or whatever one you said was worse, like you would be much more proud of it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Versus being that person on the sidelines that hears everybody talk shit about it, and then you're like, yeah.
It's funny
it
how
was
trendy
shit.
Well, but-
it is to be like hating on shit. You know?
What
Yeah.
what we're sort of all touching upon with all this is like, what is the value of your experience doing something, and then how is that either positively or negatively influenced by what other people say about it? I mean,
Yeah.
your experience on set, your experience on set, your experience on set. You have something that is either valuable or horrible or whatever. You learn, you grow. It's dynamite, whatever. But then when other people start to judge it, which is sort of the culture that we're in, which is the culture of outrage, and everybody's mad about everything, and everybody's going to critique everything, suddenly your view, it's like putting on goggles that make everything look shittier. And I think that's what we have to fight against.
Yeah.
Is if you don't like something, don't just blast it out and say, this movie sucks. Say why. Or have a
Yeah.
conversation
And
with somebody
understand
learn.
that your opinion is not necessarily anyone else's opinion.
Right. But at
And-
least at least you can learn about people.
Yeah,
if you
absolutely.
say like I'm curious to say like why you think The Dark Knight is better than Dark Knight Rises. We all know. But you have to have that dialogue.
Yeah,
Otherwise
absolutely.
it just turns
then
into
it's
like,
just
this
like, oh,
sucks,
then
this
you
sucks,
just
this
have
sucks. Yeah.
then you're just saying that because you like honestly you probably didn't get it or something, you know, or like
Well, yeah, it's just interesting how our jobs as creators is to make something for the sake of people to have opinions about it. You know, you don't
Yeah.
have a plumber like put a sink together and
What'd you
somebody
guys
go
think?
like, "This fucking blows. You
I really
suck."
really
You
love how
could.
you screwed that pipe in there.
Yeah,
but
I would have
don't-
done that better. Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like,
like the color of the pipe.
Yeah.
You have green.
Well, it's like
Bad piping.
there's just a lot of there's a lot of strange emotional turmoil that comes in to doing this that is totally separate from the act of creating shit. And you
Yeah.
guys know that better than
Yeah,
anyone.
that's true.
Like me and John kind of forged our relationship through the 48-hour film festival.
Right, yeah.
Where I mean that's where most of your movies are made. I mean you're a long time
it's
season
not
veteran.
unlike The Woods, but you do end up with you end up with a specific amount of time to do something. And what's cool about that is,
Do you want to explain what it is, the 48?
Sure, yeah. So when I was a kid, I grew up in Dallas, Texas. There wasn't really a place or a sphere to do creative stuff, and then suddenly this contest came through, which is now huge all over the world. And if anybody watching this wants to get into filmmaking or wants to try their hand at something, I highly encourage you to look this up. 48-Hour Film Project. It's in most major cities across the globe. You're given 48 hours, a Friday night to a Sunday night, to
Or
make
Sunday
a movie,
morning.
beginning to end. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get a genre and a prop and a character, I think, and
A line of dialogue.
and a line of dialogue, and it's off to the races. Everybody rushes home, and you have to fully write, direct, edit, etc., and turn something in by the end of it. And it's just the coolest thing to see what people come up with the same criteria, and everybody has a different genre.
That is amazing because it puts a box out that like, okay, everyone has the same box.
yeah.
Let's see
Yeah.
what comes out of it. The best film wins. I
And
think
it's-
that's so fucking
and
cool.
it negates like budget or money, because sure, you can have a fancy camera, but maybe your story's not so great.
Yeah.
Or you can have the best script in the world, but maybe
It looks
your
shitty or
actors
the
aren't
actors are
great,
bad.
or
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
it? It's for me as a young kid, it was the greatest training ground because you have feedback immediately, and they provide a space to you make something one weekend. 3 weekends later, it's up on the big screen. How many 16, 17-year-olds are watching themselves
yeah.
on like an IMAX theater? Is the coolest thing in the world. But the flip side of that is you have to learn to break that wide open and break that out and stop thinking so small. And that's kind of what the challenge is now, is what's next? What's bigger? What's better?
Well-
how can you take it out of the realm of like short films and stuff and make something more exciting?
Well, what is also compounded with that, which is what I would love to hear your thoughts on, is not only do you get to see it on the big screen and all this stuff, you put all this work into a weekend. There's awards.
Oh yeah.
There's a judging period.
Yeah.
You see, this is the reaction when those things happen. It completely reshapes
That's
your
true.
your view of
Yeah,
how
your
it
experience
is.
and everything. Yeah.
And we I think John's been doing it for like what 15 years, some shit.
It's a maturity thing.
Yeah, and it's like it kind of stings every time, no matter what, when you get second place or whatever, for whatever reason. And it's so hard to compare.
What it is, and this maybe ties this section of this conversation full circle, when you make something, when you're not just a prop, but when you are blood, sweat, and tears into it, whether you've worked on your character or whether you've had a say in how the camera moves or what the story is, or it's a piece of you. It's like
Yeah.
Everyone ends up being a little bit biased towards their film, obviously, because
But it's like a part of you, and
Yeah.
even you see its flaws, but those are also like chinks in the armor. And then when you get into this thing of like rating it in awards,
it cheapens
That judgment is transferred to you as a person.
the experience is not about the experience
yeah,
anymore.
I'm a total hypocrite. I love the Oscars. I love
Yeah.
that whole award season and everything,
absolutely.
and getting into those
Yeah.
dialogues. But when it doesn't take away from the vulnerability of when you've done something. To then put it out into the world and let it sit and stand on its own is one thing, but then to say, okay, now rank it.
yeah.
Now quantify it.
yeah, it's
That's,
gotta give you a
that's
thick
tricky.
skin.
I mean, and that's I think what fucked me up so bad about Blair Witch was that I had this experience that I honestly dive bombed every other aspect of my life for. My first. I mean, 'cause that was our conversation we had where you were like, you dropped the ball. Like this is. I remember feeling like, well, shit. So I've sacrificed my physical health, my emotional health, and my personal life for this. And then when it blew up and was coming out, and then it bombed, it was like, shit, why did I do that? It was like, and and again, this is the only job where you're putting who you are on the line for people to critique.
Yeah.
And it's like, people are like, this sucks, you're a bad person because of that. And that was the first time I experienced
Well,
that.
and to that point though, yes to all of that, but all that glitters is not gold, to say a cliche. Like, we as people that make stuff, we as people that are trying to put stuff out there, you have to slowly shift away from everything being the result and shift into the experiences you're learning from that and growth. And like, you make a joke or you have a sequence and it doesn't go quite your way, but the experience of it teaches you something, and it's a blast. I mean, even just setting these damn mics up for this thing, we're all laughing and goofing off, and it's like something. Okay, we're serious now, but it's good to slow down and reflect, but it's also good to slow down and just enjoy where you are and like check out the scenery and go, oh, where was I last year? Where was I last month? I'm moving along. We're making stuff. And so I wanted to ask you three, you stepping on as a producer and you guys so actively involved. I mean, we were talking about sketches recently. You're writing stuff. You always have written stuff. Like, what are you guys interested in doing? Or like, what do you feel like people could learn about your process, where you were and where you are now?
I think that the main thing, like when you're getting started with creative stuff, there, you know, obviously like everybody's got a different process of doing it, and there's like advice and guidelines on how to like get the creative juices flowing and start to get into a project. But it's one of those things that you can never do well on something that you're not passionate about or that you're not in like emotionally or like your heart's not in, because like there are some times like my biggest thing that I love doing here is the cinematic episodes that we do. And although that's not exactly what sells the best, you know, I get the most fulfillment out of doing that, because I think that that's the best experience and experimenting that's going to help all of us morph this into what we want to in the future and be able to do other projects.
You should be very proud of that. I don't know if I tell you enough how proud I am, and it's weird to say, but like you have grown so much this process, and,
Thanks,
and
man.
it shows in the work. Like,
Like
Thanks,
6 inches
Dad.
taller
it's
than you were.
fucking
when we
excellent.
started.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
It's been very cool to watch you guys grow. It's been all of you. It's been very cool. John's, but
and it's crazy too, because
Grandpa.
you are a grandpa now, aren't you?
oh no,
That's so
he's gonna
cool.
think about that later. Don't say that to him.
It's okay. I have my Botox appointment tomorrow.
Oh God, no, not again.
Groupon. It's a Groupon. Groupon. Botox for your life.
For your life.
This
Botox
is
for your
brought to you
emotions.
by Botox.
Yeah, I mean,
Like it's crazy to think that a year's passed since we started this. I know that was last week and you guys talked about it in the last podcast, but I wasn't there. But that a year passed, and like you can't like it's hard to experience growth and maturity as it's happening, you know, because every day is
I think
just
it's impossible.
it is. It's just living. You're just living every day, and then you look back a year earlier and you're like, wow, so much has happened that it's not even like fathomable.
Yeah.
And it's like to be able to, obviously we're changing some things around, you know, what we're going to be doing, but that's also going to free up some space to do shorts or a little series, a little 10 episode series, something on the side.
I mentioned that on the last one that we were gonna try to do 4 a month, but I think we've decided now
Probably
that
2 a month.
Even once we get into our schedule after this season and we're like fucking working it and we're killing that schedule, then we're gonna do 2 shorts a month. And I know I want to write one, and if you want to write one and you want to write one, whatever, like we're just gonna work it out like that. Maybe we do 3 if we all end up writing one. Just whoever ends up writing one, we'll just look at them. But like,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think it should be. I don't think it should be, all right, James, yours is next. It should be like, I've got an idea.
Write one,
okay,
yeah.
write it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And just like, if we're all just constantly writing and working on stuff, we'll have some like ideas built up.
yeah, because
you
my
know?
passion for this lies with acting, and I want to do more acting. But unfortunately, because we're not going to be doing as much cinematic stuff, there's not as much opportunity for that. But I think improv is something we all are good at, I think, and it's fun, and that's great, and that kind of gives us that little rush that we need. But there's still that we want that more.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to be able to act in these shorts that we're going to do, and writing. Like, I've always written bits, and bits are easy because they're more just like quick ideas. Next one. What else is funny? What else is funny? And that's cool to write down things that like translate into cool improv and funny scenes. But like, I want to really dial in and learn how to write better. Like, I'm working on this script right now that I mentioned to you earlier about, and I think it's gonna be so cool to like write that out, get opinions from everyone, twerk it, tweak it, work it, baby,
Twerk on it.
shake that ass on it until it's like, oh, that's a great fucking idea, and it's a script. And then I'm like, yo, I wrote that script with some help.
Yep.
But like, I wrote that
Absolutely.
script, and then when we
It's-
do it,
yeah.
and then I get to do that acting that I want to do, like that's gonna be so fucking cool,
but
man.
that's
'cause
it. That's where I come from, and that's so inspiring to me about what's going on now, at least in the industry. I hate when people say that, like it's the most fucking important thing ever.
as an
But, like,
industry for
I'm
everything.
walking away to get water, but keep talking.
But
James is pissed, everyone.
wait, grab me something.
You guys know James gets pissed.
Take
He's
the
leaving.
pretension out of it. Where we are right now, and I say this to everybody, where we are right now is like the creator is king. You have an idea, the barrier to entry is so low. Write it out. Get your
do
friend's
it.
opinion. Just do it. Just put it out there. If it doesn't end up how you wanted, so what? The next one
Yeah, I
will.
just want to do
Or
it
redo
exactly.
it.
Get better and
Like-
better. Yeah.
Like you and I had a conversation early on when we met about you wanting to act more, and like what has happened with the season, what's happened with your storylines. Like it's allowed for that. And what you're moving forward with the shorts is going to allow for that. Like what you guys do, what is so inspiring, and you really got me.
Yeah, dude, it's vodka.
Is it just water?
Just water.
Spicy water, isn't
Gross.
it? It's that fire water.
It's Van Nuys water.
No, it's from the
No,
cuckoo.
it's Sparklets, baby. It's from Mount Sparklets.
We're still in Van Nuys. Sorry, I love Van Nuys.
No, you don't.
I just don't love drama. Do it. That's what I say. Like,
Oh, yeah.
And that was my first time working with y'all as an actor. Did I feel taken care of? Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I'm convinced.
I'm durable. But
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah,
more
you
like
are.
Okay, the shot's supposed to be like this. Oh, there's a lamp here. Oh, there's this here. Move it. Like it's just you make it happen. You
Yeah.
set a goal and you make it happen. And that's the age of what's happening now. If you look at going back to like the Oscars, like almost everybody was a writer director. They wrote their own stuff, or they're casting their friends. That's what people got to do.
A little clicky.
It's clicky,
Okay,
but like
I'm playing. No, absolutely. That's what it comes down to. And the cool thing about like that type of like, not necessarily hectic, but it is hectic a lot of the time. But like that kind of like run and gun and like do it and get it done as you're doing it type of working that we've gotten so used to doing over a year.
Yeah.
Once we tone that back and are able to adhere to a schedule and we give ourselves more time, like that experience of being able to quickly adapt to whatever we're shooting is going to be like able to be applied in a more like structured way. So we're like, wow.
I'm curious how that's gonna feel passion and emotion wise. Because for me, a lot of the passion does come from some of that. Like we had
there's always
3
gonna be
fucking
that.
days to get the best. So like. You're on it. What's the best we can do right now? So it's gonna be interesting how to like
but
massage how I feel about it to like we don't have to do it all right now, but
Dude,
what's the best
movies
we can do?
movies
You
on
know
the
what I mean?
biggest scale have those problem solving. Like,
I mean, I can speak to my own experiences, not even on the biggest scale. The minute that you think like I got it under control,
You don't.
the car dies, the slider breaks,
True.
someone doesn't show up.
True.
I was doing a project a while back, and the director and DP, one of the most talented people I've worked with, and I won't say his name, went down to his car to get water for the
Schieber.
cast. We were just relaxing. And I'm not even kidding. 20 minutes goes by, 30 minutes goes by,
Oh,
40
God,
minutes
where
goes
is
by.
he?
Broke his ankle, fell down the stairs, fell down 3 flights of stairs.
Oh
in
my
garage.
God.
And we were all like, we found him. He came back and shot the rest of it and directed the rest of it. It was like, had to get it done.
Yeah.
And I was like, I probably would have gone to the hospital personally, but that was
Oh, if I broke
dedication.
my
You
ankle,
make it happen.
I'm off to the hospital.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
You guys want to see some fucking crazy shit? Check this out, John. Here it is, John.
Holy shit.
wow.
That's neat.
Off to the both sides.
And speaking of neat, we would like to thank Bespoke Post for sponsoring this podcast. Folks, this is my first ad read. Go gentle on me. Here we go. Friends and family, Bespoke Post is a subscription club that offers monthly themed boxes curated from unique and upcoming brands around the whole entire world. There's a wide variety of box themes like style, grooming, cooking, drinking, travel. They cover every base. No commitments. They tell you what box you're assigned on the first of each month, and you have 5 whole days to keep it, switch it, or skip it. Listen, friends, visit bespokepost.com and answer a few short questions that will help them gauge your interests and get a feel for the boxes that'll vibe with your style. Each subscription box goes for only $45 with more than $70 worth of goods inside. That's a heck of a deal. Listen here. We got an even better deal for you. To receive 20% off your first subscription box, go to bespokepost.com and enter promo code PINE at checkout. That's 20% off of your first box. BESPOKE post.com. Promo code PINE. Bespoke
PINE.
Post. Bespoke Post theme boxes for guys that give a damn.
And let me tell you, we've received several Bespoke Coke packages. And
Say it again.
That's good.
let me tell you, we've received several Bespoke packages, and we love them. We got this fancy little time teller over here. Tell me a story, time teller.
The cool thing about Bespoke Post is they give you like fashionable stuff and grooming stuff, and they also give you fun little things like this. This is a magnetic hourglass where it's got, I think it's alien dust inside of it that is magnetized to the bottom, which is also an alien. And it's cool because you can just watch a minute pass by.
That was one thing that was like key during the woods that I think we talked about a bit. Again, Wes and I were talking about this. There's a certain face that we put on when we get on set.
Yep.
You got to put on set face.
Business mode.
Well, yeah, but it's also I've been very lucky to have people who are much more experienced than me sit me down and say, you have the wrong attitude. And the thing about that
Like
is...
what? What do you mean? I'm curious.
I'm also curious.
The specific thing?
Yeah, it's really
I'm
interesting.
not
to
too
me.
curious.
It's not gonna... I can't do it without sounding like a big dick. 'Cause
No,
it-
I mean,
it's
You've
gonna
already
name
gone
drop.
there. You've already
I think
gone
everyone
there.
understands
Well, here we
that
are.
that's what you meant by like you have
Well-
the wrong attitude, and you don't ever now, in my opinion, have the wrong attitude. So
That's
I'm
sweet.
I've
curious.
never,
I wanna
I've
hear
never
the
experienced
situation.
you being a dick
No.
or
I hope
being
this is just a
ungrateful.
weird thing to
You have to
say
learn and grow.
to talk about without sounding douchey. If you know
No, just
whatever.
say
Right,
it.
dude.
You're good, dude.
When I was on The Walking Dead, there was a.
Oh
Oh my
God.
God. John.
All right, guys.
Humble brag.
That was also an experience. Where I'm like, I don't know if I should be proud of that.
Say it. Of course you should.
I had no bearing on the story, but
I heard you were the head writer.
that was me. That was the guy.
Tommy was up.
I was just
Cool guy.
kind of in a. I was in a. Oh, that's right. You met him. Bragging.
Talk about that after. That's gonna be the next story. Go ahead.
I got very lucky to work with such talented people. We gossiping. Do you have enough for the rest of the class?
Yeah. No.
Oh.
We're just waiting on bated breath for you to talk about another one of
I
your
want to hear the
multi-million-dollar
story.
projects.
guys.
No, I
We're
want to
gonna
hear the story.
bully
We're playing.
Jamie
We're
right
playing with
now.
you. We're playing.
I want to hear this.
Dear Diary, they were mean to me on the podcast.
Dude, your Dear Diary bit is my favorite thing.
Yeah, so I was very lucky to work with. That's it. Wes Robinson. No, Andy Lincoln. That was my first job ever. And Andy sat me down one day on set. I think I was just like tired or something. And he was like, "What are you doing? What's this? What are you frowning about?" And I was like, "I'm just kind of like whatever." I was just lamenting whatever. And he gave me that thing of like, "Look where you are. This is rare. This could be the last time you ever get to do it." And he said, "One day you're going to be." It was the most encouragement I ever got in my entire life. He's like, "One day you're going to be number one on the call sheet on something. And when that happens, you need to have the best attitude on set. Because if you don't, the rest of the set will fall apart." And he said, one attitude that is shitty is enough to destroy the entire set.
Yeah.
And so when we were on the woods,
We all know about
it was...
that. Bleep. Bleep. Is this what I'm supposed to
Yeah,
do?
yeah,
Am I
yeah.
saying something?
But when we were doing the woods, that was our goal and that's what impressed me so much about you is like having the entire world on your shoulders to be able to say like, all right, let's move on. You know, it was like,
your motivation and level of
Oh,
like
well, thank
moxie
you.
on it, and you were just like,
Moxie. That's an SAT
Wrong word?
word. That's a great word.
give me the definition. I might have improperly used that.
I don't know it. It just sounded like you knew.
Guts
that you
and
knew it.
moxie. Moxie's like having guts
Sex
and
drive.
going out there.
Mojo. Sorry,
That
I
was
meant
it.
mojo.
Character determination or nerve?
I'm gonna. Moxie means the force of character, determination, or nerve.
That does, John. I'm glad you knew the definition of that.
I did, yes.
But that
Very impressed.
You're
I'm
like
impressed.
every
That it
time
does.
We'd have to go for another take, and it was getting later in the day. Where it's getting later in the actual shoot. Like we would have to fucking barrel through things, and we would get the take, and obviously acting in it, I'm like, I'm happy with my performance, or I'm not happy with my performance. But like I look to you or Naeem to be like,
Yeah.
this is good, we can move on, and you'd be like, fucking dynamite, like and not and
Dynamite,
like
yeah.
knowing
it's not lying. It's not being
yeah, exactly.
facetious.
Knowing
It's-
you enough to know that you're not a bullshitter. You're not like I'm
Totally,
blowing hot air at my
totally.
ass or anything. Like you're gonna say that because this is as much your project that you want to do well at. Having your name on a film by John Redlinger, like you're not just saying that to get it done. You want it to be great. So like hearing you say that and keeping things going, you were creating that good culture that was on the set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
Having
don't know
that,
how
like-
this all came back to me, but I appreciate that.
well, because it did
obviously.
that.
I mean, that's super important to me too. Like being on the woods and just like making sure that you're in a good mood. You know what I mean? And having fun with everybody.
It's
that's
not even like a good mood as much as it is about it's optimism about what you're doing
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and just
absolutely,
hustle.
yeah.
You
hard,
have to
hard
fucking
work
push.
doesn't have to be awful. It should be the opposite. You should care so much that it's not hard until
It's
you
not
stop
work.
doing it.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
oh god.
Yeah, because the
was
sleeping was the
yeah.
worst part of the woods. It was just like
I
time
mean,
to wake up.
I just think like that's the kind of experience that you either decide we're going to get through it and we're going to get it done, or you don't. And if you're going to get through it, don't be the person that drags everybody else down.
Because that's all it takes is that one dude, just one person who's like, I'm just tired today, my feet hurt. The
Yeah.
rest of the set falls all the fucking way apart.
It's then
every
you're like
time.
awkward if you're in a good mood and someone's down. You're like,
It's contagious.
Get away from me.
It's contagious.
But if, yeah, and it even goes to like if you're just hanging out with friends at a happy hour, you're hanging
Yeah.
out at a party or whatever, and someone's telling a joke. you give the attention to the person telling the joke, and you give your dedication to trusting that they're going to do it, and you don't try to hijack it, or people do, but that's like that's like an energy vampire. And what we had there, and what we have in all of our collaborations, has been this additive thing of like, that's great, that's funny, let's go further. We don't have time, that won't work, whatever. I mean, when I'm directing, it's like a certain mindset, and I was a little concerned, like, oh, being the taskmaster and having to like lord over y'all. But then when you invited me in to do the part in the show, it's the opposite of that, and I suddenly feel very taken care of by most of our scenes being together, specifically by you, because you know the vision, you know the arc, and you give me that sandbox, and you let me go off and you let me play. But then it's like, you know where it's supposed to go, and you pull me aside respectfully, and you'll say, we have to end at this point, this point, this point, and it's so cool to see the opposite end of that for me, which is, that's what collaboration is, the best of both worlds. Yep. And when you let me loose, let me off the leash as Michael, I know that there's no place I can go that I won't be taken care of, because you guys have it under control. The way that on the Woods, that was flipped. You guys got to play. We got to say, oh, that's the shot, we have this or that. And that's you said clicky earlier, and it can be clicky, but that's what finding people that you love working with.
You find that crew that's like truly like your crew, your squad.
You find your people that you speak the same language, and even a bad experience turns into, oh, we learned something. And we found a way to do it better.
I love how much we work with Naeem now too.
Yeah,
like we're always working with him. Or like he's
he is my oldest friend.
That's awesome.
I've known Naeem.
I love how
since
both of our groups like merged so comfortably.
Cool.
Yeah,
Naeem, very cool.
Naeem and I started out. We were sort of like we
were lovers.
We were.
Lovers,
we had a home economics class in junior high.
This was a home once.
I would always prank him and play jokes and get him in trouble or whatever.
You thought it was like a friendly like pranking, but you were just bullying.
He hated you so much.
He would say maybe, but he carved my name into one of the tables, and I got into shitload of trouble.
Fucking get wrecked, bitch.
Michael.
I showed up to school the next day and was called into the office, and the teacher was there, and she really liked me, and she's sobbing, and the police officer in the junior high is there, and he's pot belly, he's just hand on his gun. I was just like, I'd never been in trouble in my life.
Hand on his gun.
I've browned my pants at this point, and I'm sitting there like, why did you carve your name into the table? And I just burst out laughing.
Why would I fucking do that?
That was basically,
why would I incriminate
said,
myself?
Why would I carve my own name? That's like leaving my DNA all over. And so I knew it was Naeem. I knew it was revenge. And so I saw him shortly after and was like, all right, well done, you bastard. And ever since then, it's been like, all right,
that's funny.
I served it for so long.
So you were bullying him, and that's what turned into friendship.
It was mutual.
It reminds me of in the
Let
office.
me ask Naeem that first.
Remember, you guys are also in the office, right?
What's that?
Fuck off, John.
I'm not that old, kid.
Yes, I love The Office. Which
Remember,
episode?
I think it was when Andy was manager. It was the Christmas episode, and Andy told Dwight and Jim, "No pranking today, or you lose your Christmas bonus, or whatever." And then so they're like doing pranks that incriminate the other person.
Yeah.
And then at the end, after Andy tells Jim, "Don't worry about it anymore," but Jim doesn't tell Dwight that, and Jim like graffitis his own car, like "Jim is handsome" or something like that on his own car. Remember that?
That's
We've all done that. But to my point about Naeem, sorry.
No.
He and I were just these goofuses with no purpose, and I was given like a Sony Handycam. You could hear the zoom go in and out.
Oh yeah.
You could, it was the worst thing ever. But we were watching stuff like that, stuff that we wanted to do. Specifically for me, it was like Tarantino and old like old John Carpenter movies, and it was like, how do you do blood? How do you do this and that? And we would go out on the weekend, and whatever friend we could recruit, sometimes it was football players, sometimes it was drama kids, sometimes it was my brother or my dad, like whoever it was, they would do whatever part we had written that day. And it was like creativity just ruled. And through that, we never took it seriously. I just assumed I'd end up, probably unemployed. But you learn to do stuff. And Naeem just gravitated towards the technical side, and I don't really want to do a project without him now. He's just so talented. And as you've seen working with him in like The Woods and the show, he doesn't really get mad. Nothing gets him down. Yeah. I mean, I have an opera of emotions just driving here.
Me too.
And Naeem is just like the most even going, kind of like you, like professionally, like just
I love how you would delineate it
parentheses
professionally.
But you know what I mean.
You're a
when
fucking disaster
you were
when you're
talking
off
about, like, the
set.
set persona or whatever, and like I haven't really mastered that. Like things. I get up, I get down, I feel high, I feel low, whatever. And,
Yeah, me
and
too.
you got to have those people on set who are just like, okay, yeah, that's broken. We'll find some other way to do it.
I wish I had that. I feel like your personal life is probably in a lot more of a steady place than mine would be. But like
Redacted.
I wish I had that kind of optimism in real life. I'm not faking it necessarily. It's just you kind of push forward and whatnot. And I wish that I had those kinds of life experiences that you guys had beforehand. And because I'm just now getting to the point where I'm thinking of making stuff, like using my hands. 'Cause
Yeah.
as an actor, which I barely call myself that at this point, you are kind of left up to the world to decide if you get to work. And I hated that. And I kind of fell into that as a job. Whereas you guys have been making shit this whole time. So when my career kind of like halted, I was like, what the fuck how do I do this? How do I find control in some way, control and consistency? And that's why I wanted to, I got a taste of producing with Bad and Classic stuff, which by the way, go to the Bad and Classic YouTube page to see all the 48 films. I was just so excited to have something I could wrap both hands around and say, like, I have, it's up to me. I can do something here.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about this. And I'm just, it's nice to have something that is not just waiting by a phone. I can make the phone calls now.
Yeah, and the cool thing is we all feel that. I feel like there's such a equal amount of like gratitude to be able to be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me, like I'm looking back on the past year, it's fucking amazing. 2017 was a great year with SB7 and all the stuff we've been able to make. But like, you always have to look ahead and say like, okay, next year is going to be
Absolutely.
doubled or tripled of like how much we're doing, how happy we are doing it, how, all that stuff. And so we've got some projects in the work and that we're going to be talking about tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm very
Big
excited
stuff,
to
big
be
stuff.
for you to direct me
cool.
again. I love
very
that.
excited
I
to
love
do
that
it.
relationship. And with all you guys, like I think I said to you yesterday, I can't wait to just act like beside you, and just me and you are just two characters for whatever relationship in whatever we make. It's just two characters that we can fully get into and just be those together.
I would
'Cause
adore that.
We haven't been able to like. We've been in all these videos together, but we haven't been able to just fucking act together. You know what I mean? And like, I'm excited for that. And I hope that everyone listening to this and watching our stuff is equally excited, because there are going to be some changes, which you guys heard about last week.
Good changes though. Changes I think
changes.
you guys want underlying.
Yeah.
Like
We're gonna do our absolute best to make sure that you guys are happy and continue to be happy and enjoy what you're saying and be inspired by what you're seeing.
but also be happy ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
Have
that
a good balance.
it's sometimes hard to find that balance. You fall into a rut of like making content because it's so successful, but you're not happy doing it anymore, or you're making stuff that you love doing that's getting no traction. So we're trying to find that balance. And on that note, I think it's good to end this darn podcast. This
Thank you
has been
so
episode
much.
300.
302.
I think it was 1,000.
episode.
You're
Sorry,
right.
the thousandth.
been 1,000
You should get
weeks.
like a gold star right there.
Okay,
Right.
I gotta
What's like
I gotta find a
right
sound effect.
here.
I have to
Ding.
I have
Sound
to,
effect.
I have to go to Google Images now.
You see it?
Well, thank you guys so much for watching episode 32 of Beyond the Pine, and thank you to John for
Thank you,
coming
John.
out.
Thank you, Jamie.
Do you have anything
Thank you, Kid.
to-
Thank you, me.
Do you have anything to
everybody.
plug or anywhere you want one to go? What's your
Or
Instagram,
anything
Twitter?
you want people to be excited about.
That's all gonna.
Yeah,
go in
do you have
the
anything you
description.
Yeah,
wanna-
it'll be in the description. Check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Go follow us all on
Big-
Instagram.
Big things soon. That's what I can promise. For all of
Absolutely.
us and for you guys. Make stuff. Get out there.
Absolutely.
Live your dream. Don't sit and watch other people do
Live
what you
your
want to do.
fullest
Do it
life.
yourself. And keep watching the SB7 videos because there's some really exciting stuff
Very fun.
in the pipeline.
Hell yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Beep, beep, boo, boo.
Cool.
Awesome.
Bye, buddy.
I'm gonna have to,
That's a motherfucking
Was it good?
that was fucking great, man. That's great.
That was a much more informative, like,
I like
real podcast.
doing that when we're actually talking about real shit and giving our actual like thoughts, and we're not in character. We're not just fucking around, you know.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're happy?
I feel like stuff gets real when I'm on. I'm sorry if that's outside of.
Cut on this.
Every time I'm on, we're like, let's talk about depression. And